Hi friends, my name is Myra Shaikh. I'm here today with Chandler and Stella, and we are going to take you through a quick introduction of Sun A. So if you're just starting out in your yoga practice, it may feel kind of intimidating to know exactly what each pose is for and how to do each pose, and we're going to help you ease into it by explaining it in a little more depth and a little more detail. It's going to really help you feel more strong, more confident, and build resiliency as you continue in your yoga journey. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow us on social media. So if you're just starting out in your yoga journey, it may seem a little bit overwhelming when you take a yoga class and you don't understand what Sun A, what Sun B is, what a Chaturanga is. And I'm going to help ease you into that process. I'm going to break down Sun A for you today. Sun A also translates to Surya Namaskar in Sanskrit, and it's been practiced for thousands of years traditionally as a way to welcome in the new day. And today you can do it any time of day. It's great to start your yoga practice with. It warms up the body, it increases your metabolism, it increases strength and flexibility, mental concentration. There's so many benefits in a simple Sun A. So why don't we go ahead and begin by coming into a child's pose. You're not going to need much today except for your yoga mat and your body. I have my friend Stella here on my mat. Make some room for her. So go ahead and take your knees nice and wide as your mat, and you're just going to bring your hands towards the top of the mat, palms facing down, bringing your forehead gently to the ground, and your toes are together. If this feels comfortable for you, you can stay like this. If you prefer to have your knees a little bit closer together, you can try it like that. Just play around with it until you find something that feels comfortable for you to take a few deep breaths in, just to center yourself and mentally prepare yourself. Let's begin by checking in with the physical body and just notice if you're feeling any soreness, any pain, any sensation anywhere. It's a good idea to always begin our yoga practice by a quick check-in. Whether you're in child's pose, if you're seated on your mat, or even if you're standing on your mat, just closing your eyes and turning your attention inwards and taking notice of what's going on. It's a key element in yoga practice. Once you scan your physical body, check in with your mental, emotional state. How are you feeling right now? How are you feeling today? How has life been going for you lately? Without judgment, letting go of any criticism, any expectation, trying to be an observer, just taking notice. And then finally, turn your attention to your breath and your heartbeat, noticing the quality of your breath and the speed of your heartbeat. And then eventually begin deepening your breath, slowing it down, cultivating what we call the Ujjayi breath. It's a nice, deep, diaphragmatic breath, breathing in and out through the nose. Taking maybe 4 or 5 seconds for your inhale, nice and slow, in through the nose. And then holding at the top of the breath just for a moment, and then slowly exhaling out through the nose, letting it be audible as you exhale. It sounds kind of like the waves of the ocean. It feels like you're trying to fog up a mirror, but with your mouth closed. And your exhale is going to be a little bit longer than your inhale. I'm going to pause at the bottom of the breath. And then again, another pause at the top of the breath. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath just like this, nice and slow. Deep inhale until your lungs can't take in any more air, holding at the top, and then slowly exhaling out until there is no more air left in the lungs. Let's take 1 more round of breath. And then as you're ready, slowly coming into your tabletop position on your hands and knees. So it's really important that checking in with the breath, that you don't skip that part, because that sets the tone for the rest of our yoga practice. And if we skip that and we're not really mentally focused and prepared for the rest of the class, then it's not going to be as effective. So make sure you make time for that beginning check-in. Make sure your wrists are stacked under your shoulders, your fingers are nice and wide, index finger is parallel to the sides of the mat, and your knees are stacked under your hips. And then gently tuck your chin in towards the chest to lengthen and elongate the back of your neck. Feel your neck as an extension of your spine, getting as long as you can from the top of your head all the way down to the bottom of your tailbone. With your next inhale, we're going to push the tailbone up, slowly curving the spine. Lift the crown of the head at the end of your inhale for your cow pose. And as you exhale, go in your opposite direction, curving the spine, pulling the belly in and up, chin to the chest for your cat pose, like a Halloween cat. And just do 4 more rounds like this. Inhale. Into your cow. Feel free to add more movement if that feels good in your body, keeping it organic. You can sway side to side, push all the way into your child's pose. You can always come to your child's pose whenever you want as we progress through our yoga practice. Let's do 1 more round together. Deep inhale and full exhale into your cat. And then we're just going to come back to our neutral tabletop position. So from here, we're just going to slowly come up to our feet and bring your right foot in between the hands and then your left. And then let's hang out here for a while before we come to stand. So keep a bend in your knees, and you can grab opposite elbows if you'd like. You want to hang really loose and heavy. You can nod your head yes, shake it no. You can even sway side to side if that feels good. And let gravity do the work for you here. You're not forcing anything. Letting the top of your head draw closer to the ground. So you're not straining your neck. You're not trying to look anywhere. You can even have your eyes closed if you'd like. But you're really letting go of any tension in your body. Just kind of feeling like a blob, almost just hanging out here. But make sure you're breathing nice and deep. Maybe with each exhale, just feel yourself melt a little bit closer to the ground. Just a few more deep breaths like this. You may start feeling a pull in the back of your legs, your calves, your thighs, and it may feel a little bit uncomfortable if you aren't used to doing a pose like this. But just keep breathing. Try not to clench anything. And then with your next inhale, we're going to bring our hands to our shins and then just lift up halfway. So pull your shoulders back and lengthen the neck. Again, feel your neck as an extension of your spine and your gaze is down. So you're still getting as long as you can from the top of your head to the bottom of your tailbone. And then as you exhale, slowly lower down into your fold, also called Uttanasana. Take a deep bend in the knees, push down through the bottoms of your feet, and use ground force to slowly rise to stand 1 vertebrae at a time. Take your time here. Don't rush through it. You don't want all the blood to rush to your head as you're coming to stand. Eventually, coming all the way upright. And then keep your chin at your chest just for a moment before you lift your head. So this is called Tadasana in Sanskrit. It's also known as mountain pose, and we want our feet to be about hip distance apart. If that doesn't feel good for you, you can play with your stance. Again, everything that we cue in yoga is a recommendation, but I really encourage you to feel how the cues are feeling in your body, and then you decide what feels right for you. So if you want to bring your toes closer together or you want to play with your stance, then please feel free to experiment here. But we usually recommend the feet to be about hip distance apart. And then bring a slight bend to the knees. Make sure you're not locking the knees out here. So it's like a micro bend in the knees. And then we're going to draw the belly in towards the spine so we're engaging that core strength. We want to feel really steady and stable through the core in the midsection. And then as we bring our awareness up higher in the body, we're going to drop the shoulders gently down to lengthen and elongate the neck, and we're going to pull the shoulder blades closer together on the back. So we're lifting the heart forward, shoulders are down, away from the ears. There's a slight bend in the knees. I know it sounds like a lot, but the more you do this, the sooner it will click and start making sense. So don't feel overwhelmed, but start noticing these little things. And then the top of the head is reaching upwards towards the ceiling. And through the bottoms of the feet, you want to press down through all four corners of your feet, feeling steady and balanced if your eyes are closed. Again, just maybe rocking a little bit back in your heels, and then maybe a little bit forward into your feet, and just playing a little bit with the weight distribution until you can come to center and then find that steadiness and that balance. And then we're just going to take a few deep breaths here. So in Tadasana, you can either keep your hands alongside the body with your palms out and your fingers wide. And one of my instructors would say, pretend like you're shooting laser beams out of your fingertips. So energetically pushing your fingers apart, palms out. This is one option. Another option, if it feels good to you, a more traditional option would be to bring the hands together in prayer in front of your heart. Samastitihi. So palms are together and thumbs are pressing against the sternum. Keep lifting the crown of the head and take a few more cycles of breath here. Again, notice what's going on in your body. Notice if you feel yourself swaying back and forth. Notice if you're clenching any muscles, and just see if you can find a little softness in your face, your neck, your shoulders. It's been said that you can find this pose, mountain pose or Tadasana, in every other yoga pose that you do. So really feel the stability and the strength, the posture of this, and you're going to want to embody that throughout the other poses that we do. Let's take one more full inhale and complete exhale. Next, we're going to inhale and sweep our arms up. This is called Urdhva Hastasana. And then you can grab your left wrist and pull up gently. With your exhale, lean over to the right. And then make sure you're stepping evenly through both feet on the ground. Let's inhale back to center, little side bend, switch the grips, pull up, exhale, lean over to the left, turning your heart a little bit towards the ceiling, and then back to center. With the inhale, if it feels good, you can take a little back bend. As you exhale, we can swan dive, bring the arms out to the sides, and slowly come forward, back into our forward fold. So this is called Uttanasana, forward fold. Again, nod your head yes, shake it no. Hang loose and heavy. As you inhale, bring your hands back to your shins, lift up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale to fold. From here, we're going to bring our hands to the ground, and we're going to step our feet back at the top of a push-up or the top of a plank. And then lower your knees to the ground if you would like to. Otherwise, I'll leave it up to you. You can, for more intensity, you can keep those knees up. Otherwise, you can keep them down like Chandler's doing. And you want to make sure that your wrists are stacked under the shoulders, under the elbows, and your fingers are nice and wide. You really engage your core here. Keep pulling your belly in towards your spine. We're going to slowly start lowering down. It's called Chaturanga. And we're going to shift our head a little bit forward and then slowly lower the body down. This is called Chaturanga. Keep your elbows over your wrists. Forehead to the ground. Untuck your toes. and push your toenails into the ground. I'm going to come up just to help break this down a little bit more. So Chandler keeps hugging her elbows in towards her body, and with her inhale, she's going to lift her head up. So Chandler, keep your gaze down on the mat. So as you lift up, make sure you're just looking straight down. You really want to lengthen the back of the neck the whole time. So again, inhale to lift up. You can come up as high as you'd like. Push your toenails firmly into the ground, so much your kneecaps could lift off the ground. And then as you're ready, exhale, slowly lower down. Beautiful.
Don't look up at all. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. No, that's a common thing that people do, actually. And so it's great that you did that too, because a lot of times people don't realize as you look up, it puts a lot of strain in your neck. So you want that extension the whole time, feeling your neck as an extension of your spine. So keep your gaze down to lengthen the back of your neck. So Chandler did a cobra. I'm going to demonstrate real quick. The other option would be an upward facing dog. So in an upward facing dog, you would be only on your hands and the backs of your feet. And then your knees are off the ground, your legs are off the ground, your heart is lifted, and you're looking forward. From either one, we would tuck our toes under and then push up and back into a downward facing dog. So this is your very first downward facing dog. Please ease into it. Pedal out your feet, pushing one heel to the ground and then the other. And let your body settle into the pose and get acclimated. Breathing deeply. Make sure you're not clenching, not holding your breath. Keep your fingers nice and wide on the mat. And push down through the base knuckles of your fingers. The base knuckles and that part, like in between your thumb, that fleshy part between your thumb and your index finger, really pushing down through that on the mat. And keep a bend in your knees. You don't have to worry about straightening out your legs right away. So feel free to keep a bend. And then just breathe here. You can bend deeply, you can straighten. Just really get a feel for this pose in your body. Notice how it feels. So if this is your first downward facing dog of today, please make sure to ease into it. Pedal out your feet, pushing one heel to the ground and then the other. And take several deep breaths here. Let your body get acclimated to the pose and get a feel for it. I'm going to come up and walk over to Chandler just so I can help break it down a little bit more for you. All right, so Chandler has her feet about hip distance apart, which is great. You may find that a different distance of your feet, either closer together or a little bit further apart, may feel better for you. Again, it's less about the hard, fast rules and more about how it is feeling for you in your body. We do have suggestions that you can take into consideration, but then go ahead and try to go a little bit deeper into your body and see how that feels. So as you continue pushing your heel one at a time towards the ground, feel a stretch throughout the backs of your legs, your calves, your thighs. It may feel a little bit intense if you've never done this before, but make sure you're not holding your breath. Continue breathing nice and deep. We're going to keep drawing the chest closer to the thighs, and you can keep your knees bent. Don't feel like you have to have your legs straight. Keep your knees bent as much as you want until you're ready to slowly start straightening your legs. And then we want to make sure we're not crunching our shoulder, and we want to keep a nice long neck here. So keep your shoulders away from the ears. Your fingers are nice and spread apart, and you're pushing down through the base knuckles of your fingers and the fleshy part in between your thumb and your forefinger. So push that firmly into the mat to keep the pressure out of your wrists. Beautiful. Continue breathing here. Nice full exhale. And then with the next inhale, let's go ahead and come up to our tiptoes. And then we're just going to tiptoe all the way back into our forward fold, back to the beginning. And I'm just going to take you through this a couple more times. Really getting used to our Sun A here. Again, you can keep a bend in your knees. You can shake your head no, not at yes.
Grab opposite elbows if you'd like. Gently sway side to side, hanging loose and heavy, letting gravity do your work for you, not forcing it. With each exhale, we let go a little bit more. We release, surrendering to the pose. Let's inhale for that half lift. You can bring your hands to your shins, shoulders pull back away from the ears, lengthening the neck and the spine, reaching the crown of the head forward. Beautiful. I'm just coming up to demonstrate. You can go back into your forward fold, your half lift. There we go. So keep your gaze down on the mat. So make sure yes, just like that. Keep your neck nice and long from the top of the head to the bottom of your tailbone. Exhale, fold. Keeping a slight bend in the knees. With your next inhale, we're slowly going to come up one vertebrae at a time. Keeping your chin to the chest all the way nice and slow. And then arms are going to sweep up. Palms are going to touch. And with the exhale, lower your palms in front of your heart for Tadasana. And then remember, you also have the option to keep your arms by your sides if you prefer, whatever feels better in your body. Just a couple of cycles of breath here. Taking this opportunity to really connect with the sensation in your body, pressing the four corners of your feet into the ground, making sure your feet are about hip distance apart. Rule of thumb, but again, take that with a grain of salt and see what's right for you. Keep pulling belly in, drop your shoulders down, shoulder blades together on the back, crown of the head is lifted. One more cycle of breath. Deep inhale and complete exhale. Inhale to sweep the arms up, grab your left wrist and gently pull up. Exhale, lean over to the right. Inhale to center and switch your grip, pull up. Exhale to lean left. Inhale to center, option for your back bend if you'd like. And then as we exhale, we're going to swan dive and fold, hinging at the hips. Inhale to take our half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to fold. We plant the hands, step the feet back, the top of a push-up, or we can lower the knees. And then we're going to take our Chaturanga, rocking forward, keeping elbows over wrists as we lower down, coming all the way to the belly like Chandler, or halfway down if you want to go into your upward facing dog. Inhale for your back bend. And then as you exhale, push back into your downward facing dog. Pedaling those feet out, one heel to the ground and then the other. Just a few deep breaths here. And remember, you can always come back into your child's pose whenever you need to. It is always there. So once again, pedal out your feet in your downward facing dog, pushing down through the base knuckles of your fingers, keeping the weight out of the wrists. Resetting here. Downward facing dog is often called an active resting pose. And sometimes when you've been practicing for a while, that's fine. You can come to your downward facing dog, but if you're just starting out, this definitely does not feel like a resting pose. So when you need a break, I do recommend coming into that child's pose. And let's go ahead and just take that child's pose. We're going to bring our knees slowly back to the ground. And again, you can keep your knees together and your feet together if you'd like for your child's pose, or you can keep your knees wide and your toes together. And gently bring your forehead to the ground. And release. Coming back to the breath, reconnecting to your breath and your heartbeat. Just notice how you're feeling right now. Just taking a few deep breaths here to reset. And while you're here catching up with your breath, I'm going to come up and I'm going to have Chandler do the Chaturanga once again, because I feel like the Chaturanga is very commonly not done properly. So a lot of people have issues with our Chaturanga. So once you reset in your child's pose, go ahead and come up, and you don't even have to do it. You can just watch. So
I can really break it down for you. You can get a better understanding of how to do this properly. So Chandler is doing it on her knees, which is great if it's too much for you to have your knees off the ground. And she's going to slowly reach forward through the top of the head. So as you reach forward, you're going to lower down. Your elbows, though, are going to stay over your wrist. So I'm going to put my hand here so your elbows don't go behind the wrist. And you're going to hug the inside of your arms. Just keep lowering down all the way. Keep hugging the inner arms into the body. You want your inner arms hugging in the whole time. Come all the way down, forehead to the ground. There we go. Now release your toes to the ground. Now you're going to push your toes firmly into the ground, your toenails, until your kneecaps almost lift up. That's how it feels. Your kneecaps may not lift up, but it feels like they're going to lift up. Inhale and lift your chest up, but keep your neck straight. Keep looking down at your mat. So keep your gaze down right there. There we go. You want really lengthen. There we go. Feel the top of the head lengthen all the way down. So the neck as an extension of the spine, and slowly lower down. So you were there for a while. That may be kind of intense to hold it for that long. We usually don't hold our poses for that long. So again, the alignment you want to, as you lower down, keep your elbow over your wrist. So when your bones are stacked, you're not putting too much pressure on one part. You don't want to injure your wrist by putting too much pressure in your wrist if your elbows are behind your wrists as you're lowering down. So hopefully that made some sense. And Chandler is taking a much needed break after that intense vinyasa sequence. Go ahead and come back up when you're ready. You can close your eyes, sit on your knees, just to reset. If you would like to take a proper Shavasana on your back, feel free to do that. Whatever helps you feel that your practice is complete. All right, close your eyes and take a few deep breaths just to reset. If you have some time, I do encourage you to lie on your back and take a Shavasana for about 3 to 5 minutes. Shavasana I introduced in my previous video. It's our meditative resting pose that we typically end a yoga class with. So highly encourage you to do that after every yoga practice. For today, you're welcome to just sit on your knees. And then just notice, again, how your body's feeling now compared to when you started. Notice if there is any difference in your energy level, your heartbeat, your breath. Just the little nuances that we usually don't pay attention to in day-to-day life. And then as you're ready, you can slowly blink your eyes open. Thank you so much for joining us today and going through the breakdown of Sun A. So I would love to hear how you did. Congratulations, first of all, for completing this video. I hope that you're proud of yourself. It's not easy to start a new endeavor, but it is going to be very rewarding if you stick with it. Let us know in the comment section if you had any concerns, any suggestions, any feedback. What did you think of the pace? Did it answer any questions that you had? And if you have additional questions, please do leave it in the comment section below. I invite you to check out the rest of my program. My Get Your Body Back program can be found on the YogaPlus app. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day ahead of you. The love and light in me bows to and honors the love and light in you. Namaste.